The dreaded distress call came from the mining station Kepler-7 at 0300 station time, which meant Chief Engineer Zach Aaron was 3 hours into what should have been a peaceful sleep cycle. The message was short, professional, and absolutely terrifying. Reactor meltdown imminent. Cooling system catastrophic failure. Evacuate immediately. Estimate 40 minutes to critical mass. 40 minutes. 4,000 miners, 2 evacuation ships that could maybe hold 500 people each if they packed them in like cargo. The math was simple, brutal, and final. Most of those people were going to die. Zach Aaron stared at his communication console, his 4 arms hanging uselessly at his sides. He'd been a station engineer for 30 years. He'd dealt with equipment failures, system malfunctions, even a hull breach once. But this was beyond his expertise, beyond anyone's expertise. The regulations were clear. In the event of imminent reactor failure, evacuate essential personnel and accept losses. It was cold. It was logical. It was the only choice that made sense. He was about to give the order when a human voice crackled over the emergency channel. "Hey Chief, Jake Martinez here. I'm in Maintenance Bay 7. I think I might have a really stupid idea." Zach Aaron's first heart sunk. He'd worked with humans for 5 years now, long enough to know that when a human prefixed something with really stupid idea, they meant it, and also that they were about to do it anyway. "Martinez?" Zach Aaron said carefully. "The evacuation protocol is clear. Get to the ships, now." "Yeah, about that." There was a pause, and Zach Aaron could hear the distinctive sound of a human doing something mechanical in the background. "See, I've been looking at the schematics, and I think we can fix this." The chief reactor engineer already confirmed the cooling system is insalvageable. The conduits are shredded, the pumps are offline. There's literally no way to... Right. No way to cool it with the official systems. But Chief, you know what's really good at absorbing heat? Zach Aaron closed his eyes. "Martinez, whatever you're thinking, ice." There was a long silence. "Ice?" Zach Aaron repeated. "Yeah, well, frozen water specifically. We've got about 400,000 liters of drinking water in storage tanks on level 12. If we dump it into the reactor cooling chamber, it'll absorb the heat, buy us time to actually fix the conduits." That's insane. The pressure would be a problem, yeah, but less of a problem than a reactor explosion. Plus, I've already started modifying the cargo airlocks to create an emergency dump system. Gonna need about 10 minutes and somebody who can override the safety protocols on the water storage system. Zach Aaron's engineering brain was screaming at him. This violated approximately 40 different regulations. The pressure differentials alone could cause a cascade failure. The thermal shock might crack the reactor housing. The contamination of the water supply would... 4,000 people. 40 minutes. What do you need? 16 minutes later, Jake Martinez stood in front of what he'd privately started calling the worst jury rig in human history. And he'd once duct taped a shuttle engine back together in the middle of a firefight, so that was saying something. The setup was beautiful in its absolute insanity. He'd connected the main water storage tanks to the cargo bay pressure system, which connected to modified airlocks that would open directly into the reactor chamber's emergency access ports. In theory, when he opened the valves, 40,000 tons of water would flash freeze in the vacuum of space while simultaneously being pressure dumped into the superheated reactor core. In theory, this would cause an instant cooling effect that would buy them maybe 20 minutes, time to patch the actual coolant conduits with the emergency repair materials. In practice, this could cause an explosion that would atomize the entire station. "Martinez?" Zach Aaron's voice came through his helmet comm. "The reactor temperature just dropped 40%. How is this science, Chief?" "Well, science and industrial quantities of frozen water." Jake was already moving, grabbing his repair kit. Okay, I've bought us maybe 15-20 minutes before all that ice melts and we're back where we started. I'm heading to the conduit access now. Gonna need that override authorization for the repair systems. You have it. Martinez, I don't even... Save it for the statue, Chief. I've got work to do. The next 17 minutes were the longest of Jake's life, working in a reactor chamber that had been minutes from exploding, surrounded by rapidly melting ice that was now creating its own problems with pressure and condensation, trying to splice together coolant conduits that had been designed to be replaced by a team of specialists with weeks of prep time. He worked like he'd learned in the Earth Navy, fast, efficient, and with a complete disregard for the meaning of the word impossible. When the last conduit sealed with a satisfying hiss and the backup pumps kicked in, Jake allowed himself exactly 3 seconds to feel relieved before his engineer's brain started cataloging all the other problems his ice dump had created. The reactor was stable, but now we had several thousand tons of water in places water should definitely not be. The cargo bay systems were probably permanently damaged. He'd blown out at least 6 safety systems that would need to be completely rebuilt. And I'd just contaminated our entire drinking water supply with reactor coolant. Oops. Martinez to bridge. Reactor is stable. Coolant systems operational. We're not exploding today. The cheer that went up over the comm was loud enough that Jake had to turn down his volume. Then Zach's Aaron's voice cut through, shaky with emotion Zach's didn't know the alien was capable of. Jake, you just saved 4,000 lives with ice and stupidity. Hey now, it was very calculated stupidity. There's a difference. The station council wants to give you a commendation. Tell them I want a new toolkit. I just used my entire supply of sealant tape on a reactor conduit, and I feel like that's a safety violation. There was a pause. Jake, did you seriously fix a reactor conduit with tape? I mean, it was really good tape, industrial grade, probably. The sound Zach's Aaron made was somewhere between a laugh and a cry. You humans are going to give me a stress disorder. Chief, I literally just saved everyone on this station by dumping water into a reactor. I think I've earned the right to tape whatever I want. The investigation took 3 weeks. A full team of Galactic safety inspectors descended on Kepler-7, their clipboards and scanners at the ready, prepared to document what they assumed would be a horror show of violations. Instead, they found themselves in the station's conference room, staring at Jake Martinez, who was calmly eating something called a sandwich while explaining his improvised cooling system. So, you see, Jake said, gesturing with what appeared to be processed meat and bread, the principle is actually pretty simple. Water has a really high specific heat capacity. When it transitions from liquid to solid, it releases energy. When it transitions from solid back to liquid in a vacuum environment, it absorbs massive amounts of heat. Basic thermodynamics. Inspector Velsha, a courtie with 3 doctoral degrees in station safety, stared at him. You used drinking water as emergency reactor coolant. I mean, it was that or let everyone die, so yeah. You modified cargo systems to create an improvised pressure dump. The systems were already there. I just repurposed them. You, Velsha's voice was getting higher, performed emergency reactor repairs with general-purpose sealant tape. Jake held up a roll. To be fair, the package says bonds to any surface in any condition. I consider a failing reactor conduit a condition. This entire operation violated 47 different safety regulations. But did everyone die? Jake asked cheerfully. That's not... You can't just... Velsha looked at the other inspectors for support. They looked away. One of them was trying not to smile. Because the truth was, by every metric that mattered, Jake's solution had been perfect. 0 casualties, minimal permanent damage. The reactor was now running better than it had been before the failure, because Jake had, apparently, fixed some stuff while I was in there anyway. It was the most infuriating thing Velsha had ever encountered in 20 years of safety inspection. "Mr. Martinez," she said finally, "what you did was reckless, dangerous, and completely outside established protocol." "Yep. And you are aware that your solution is now going to be taught in engineering courses across the galaxy as an example of human problem solving under pressure." Jake blinked. "Wait, really?" Velsha pulled up a holographic display. "The Galactic Engineering Institute has requested full schematics of your improvised cooling system. 3 universities want to study your repair methodology, and the Reactor Safety Board has asked if you'd be willing to present at their annual conference." "Huh." Jake took another bite of his sandwich. "Can I call the presentation, 'Sometimes the